Hello and welcome to another Sky Sports Fantasy Football video. Today we're previewing Game Week 6. If you're wondering where Game Week 5 preview went, obviously in Sky, game weeks are counted including international breaks. It's slightly different from most of the other fantasy football games. So Game Week 5 was an international break, and we're moving on to Game Week 6. As usual, we'll be previewing some of the best captains, some possible transfers you can make, as well as some new fixture changes which have come about recently, some fixture gains, and then finally we'll end it off with my team plans. So let's jump straight into things. So before we jump into anything else, we've got the new schedule changes which recently came out. You can see there match week 5, which is game week 6 in Sky. Everton v Arsenal will be played on Sunday now, and Newcastle Brentford gets moved to Saturday. So in terms of those changes, this is what that looks like, which is kind of annoying for me because I brought in Isak last week purely to captain him for this Sunday, and now the fixture has been swapped. So we're now getting Newcastle Brentford as the late game on the Saturday night, and Arsenal are now playing against Everton on the Sunday. So that's good for people that have kind of kept Saka. He definitely looks like the best captaincy pick on that day now. Match week 9 I think will be game week 11 for Sky. That's going to be Man United versus Sheffield. Will move to the Saturday as well. So that was another game that was playing on the Sunday, and has now moved to the Saturday night game, which leaves us Sunday with one game being Aston Villa and West Ham, which shakes up a lot of transfer plans with those of us who were looking to get out Watkins, because now he has a single game day and you're probably going to want to keep him through till then. So that's the 22nd of October. That will be just over a month's time, five games I think away. So if you're looking to get out Watkins, maybe now is the time to reconsider that. Moving on to some of the fixtures for this week and their best captains. Obviously we have the Newcastle Brentford game, which is now playing on Saturday, which leaves Isak as a possible option for captaincy. You've also got Ollie Watkins, who plays against Crystal Palace at home, who could also be an option. Man United, you've got the Man United attackers with Brighton at home. Spurs versus Sheffield's a very interesting one. I feel like that could be a good opportunity for a differential captain. Obviously you can see I've got Haaland as the number one captain against West Ham, but that could end up being a fairly dodgy game. West Ham are still undefeated with 3 wins and 1 draw so far in the Premier League. One game at home so far, which was the 3-1 win against Chelsea. So if you're really looking for that differential captain, someone like a Son, someone like Maddison could really end up being decent with that home game. I've got Maddison in second place just because I feel like Haaland is the no-brainer option. And then we've also got Salah, who plays the early kick-off against Wolves. I don't think he's really going to be considered too much. I feel like if you're going to pick Salah away to Wolves, you might as well pick Haaland away to West Ham. But I think really the big captaincy dilemma there is going to be picking Maddison or Son. As I said, I think the safe option obviously will be Haaland, and then you can maybe go for one of the differentials. Probably if your rank is really lacking, maybe a Son or a Maddison could do quite well. But you do have to remember it is still only game week 6, and taking punts like that could massively backfire very early on. But like I said, I'll probably end up just sticking it on Haaland. I don't think I've actually got Maddison or Son anyways in either team, but if you've got them, I wouldn't be against sticking that armband on them. For Sunday, we're looking at Bournemouth versus Chelsea and Everton versus Arsenal. I think Saka is the no-brainer captain there. I think Chelsea haven't looked good enough for them to solidify a solid captaincy choice. Chilwell hasn't really been too consistent. Jackson hasn't really been too consistent either. So I think Saka is the obvious choice there. Against Everton as well, who haven't been too great either at the start of the season. Obviously, if you've got someone like an Odegaard, maybe a Martinelli as well, it probably would take them over a Chelsea player. But yeah, I think any of your Arsenal attackers really look like the best picks for Sunday. We're looking at Jackson, and I went for Thiago Silva as well as the best Chelsea picks, purely because Chilwell I don't think has proved enough He had a good game week 1, and really other than that hasn't done too much. Thiago Silva, you're getting minimum 5 points in that game because Bournemouth aren't going to keep loads of possession, so that Silva is going to be getting that past tier 2. So you're guaranteeing yourself 10 points from that captaincy there. Jackson, again, he just has the higher ceiling, so he is technically going to be a better captain. But as I say, I think Thiago Silva, for those guaranteed past tiers, probably does make it in the top 3 captaincy picks for Sunday. Now, Monday the 18th of September is our second single game day of the season. Nottingham Forest versus Burnley. It's one we've been looking forward to for a while now because Nottingham Forest play Brentford as well on a single game day in 2 weeks' time. So for me, I think Awoniyi just is the best pick for that day. He's still on a goal scoring run and has still scored in every Premier League game so far this season. So I think that doesn't stop playing against Burnley at home. And I think he's definitely going to be essential, especially for these 2 captaincy days coming up. We've got Foster as well, Lyle Foster for Burnley. I wanted to include a Burnley player because I think he can still score. Nottingham Forest obviously have a decent home record as well. That's why I've only got the one Burnley player in those 3 captains. But you're looking at someone who's 6.6 million, and you can really keep him for a long time. If you watched the Enabler video that I uploaded last night, you'll know why Foster looks like a good pick. And I think as well you can have him for this captaincy and keep him for the Luton Burnley game as well. That's recently been added in as a single game day, and I think Foster could just be one that you could leave and just sit there at 6.6 million. Obviously, if you've got plans to have 3 strikers, then maybe that's not such a good idea. As I said, I do think Awoniyi is the better pick anyways. I went for Turner in at 3rd place, purely because Vlachodimos hasn't actually been added to the game yet. And as I said about Forest's home record, it is just a bit decent. So I think there's more chance of Turner / Vlachodimos. It really depends. You can wait and see the lineups and see who plays. This is for those that still do have Turner. I doubt you probably do. But if you do, I really don't think there's many other captaincies outside of those 2 that I've mentioned already that I'd be picking. Maybe Bayer, but again, I think purely for this captain day, he doesn't really come in there because I don't think Burnley are going to be keeping a clean sheet. So I went for Turner because I think the chances of Forest keeping a clean sheet are higher than Burnley's. So looking at some possible transfers for this week, we've got 3. Really just looking to get Awoniyi in is really the only move you have to make this week. Now I've got Colwill. I'm going to go second here because I think this is more of the obvious transfer. Colwill to Awoniyi, they're the same price. I think if it's possible, with your formation, I think that is a no-brainer transfer. Something I would have liked to do myself, but I'll talk about that in a little bit because I ended up taking Colwill out last week instead. But yeah, I think Colwill to Awoniyi. Colwill just hasn't really been performing. The Chelsea defence hasn't been fantastic. Colwill's playing more as a left back and he's not really getting the passing tiers that you would have hoped for. So he's really just sitting there collecting a couple points every game, not really what you're hoping for from a defender. So I think Awoniyi is just that easy transfer. You're getting 2 captaincies out of him. It's technically a 5-for-1 over Chelsea. We'll go over that when we look at the fixture gains, but I think Colwill to Awoniyi is the number 1 transfer for this week. I've also got Jackson to Awoniyi as well, purely for that, again, the 5-for-1 move there. You're saving yourself 1.8 million. And I do think that is going to be worth it. Now, I put a tweet out today purely asking about Watkins and Jackson, just to kind of see what people's idea was. If you've got Watkins and Jackson, who would you rather have when you're taking out someone for Awoniyi? In my position, I've obviously got Haaland already, and I've got Jackson and Watkins, so one of them's going to have to come out for Awoniyi. So the tweet was really just to see what people's opinions was, because Jackson had the extra game, but Watkins has the single game day coming up as well. It was really mixed opinions. Some people were saying you're going to want Watkins back anyway, so might as well just keep him. A lot of people preferred Jackson just for the extra and easier fixtures, because Fulham and Burnley look like games where he could get a goal or 2. As a big toss-up, to be honest. It is a big 50-50. I think for me, I'm not really too sure. I'm leaning more towards keeping Watkins. That's why I've got Jackson in this list here, because I do think Watkins just is better than Jackson is, and someone pointed it out in the comments as well. Jackson's probably going to end up getting suspended. I think he's got 3 yellow cards, maybe 2 yellow cards in the first 4 games. Obviously it's 5 before a suspension, but the way it's going, he is just getting booked every single game. So I think for me, I do prefer the Watkins, or keeping Watkins and making the Jackson transfer. I've also got Nakamba. Now Nakamba plays on Saturday. I think most of us got rid of him last week, but if you're still holding on to him for maybe one last chance at it, and then he gets another 2 points, there's obviously a opportunity to move off him. Again, you can move off of him and go to a 1A on Monday, which I do think is the better option. But if you've already got a 1A, or you don't really want to get a 1A in, Rice is always an option as well, who now plays on the Sunday. If you're looking for someone who is going to get consistent bonus points for an extra $1.5 million, I think Rice could be a very good option. So taking a look at this week's fixture gains then, obviously I was just speaking about that 5-for-1 with Nottingham Forest. So obviously Chelsea are going to be playing on this Sunday here against Bournemouth. You're going to take that Chelsea player out and get that captaincy against Burnley for Nottingham Forest. And then you're looking at this bit. I think I showed this bit in last week's game week preview as well. You're getting a 3-for-1 there with Nottingham Forest playing against Burnley, City and Brentford, where Chelsea only play against Aston Villa. Now obviously the way it works is if you have a captaincy, it counts as 2 games technically because it's double points. So you're getting 2 games off of Burnley for the captaincy, 1 against City, and then you're getting the 2 games with that captaincy as well. So it technically is a 5-for-1 for that Nottingham Forest transfer. So I do think if you're looking for a captaincy for Monday, I think taking one of your Chelsea players could be worth it. And for me, I think Colwill again is the obvious pick, and if not Colwill, I would go for Jackson. So obviously here as well as the Watkins single game day. So as I said, with the Watkins versus Jackson kind of predicament, you're getting 4 games here for Jackson, where you're only getting 3 for Watkins, and then you're going to be bringing him back in. I think the reason I'm swaying more towards keeping Watkins is because I know if I take Watkins out, then I'm going to be going for a 1A, having him up until Luton, which is where you want him, because if you go to this game after, if you go in Nottingham Forest games after the Luton game, they have, where's Liverpool? There we go. So they've got Liverpool, Villa, West Ham, Brighton. It's kind of difficult fixtures for them, so that is definitely the point to take him out. Plus you're getting him against Luton at home, Crystal Palace away as well, which he could easily get goals in. So it would literally be a straight swap, Watkins out, a 1A in for 5 games, and then you come back to Watkins on this day. The reason again I say I'm swaying towards Watkins is because I like doing the Jackson transfer. Realistically, you're only missing out on the Fulham and Burnley game, because after that Burnley game is where Chelsea's fixtures start to get quite difficult as well. There you go, Arsenal, Brentford, Spurs, City, Newcastle, Brighton, United. So it's going to be that week that you're going to be taking all these Chelsea guys out. So I think I maybe just get one out early, and then I don't have to worry. I think I've got 3 or 4. I think only 3 Chelsea players because I've already took out Colwill. And it's just so I don't have to worry about having so many to take out all at once. Plus I know when I get to this point after the Luton game, I can really take a 1A out for anyone I want, and it's not going to have to just be Watkins because I've already got him. So at least I can wait until that the end of October, and I can really make any transfer at that point. In terms of other fixture gains, I don't think there is too many. From having a quick look, after the Saturday, we'll see if there's anything. Again, not really. Fulham, no one's going to have Fulham players. Brentford, I mean, that's easy enough games. Yeah, I don't think there's really too many fixture gains going on here, unless I'm missing any, but apart from Forest, it doesn't look like there is too much. So I think we're good in terms of that. It's really just getting getting a Forest player in for the single game days, and then not really having to worry about any of your other players. Again, I wouldn't be making too many transfers this week. It's not one of these weeks that you would have to do it. Again, there's only a couple games on Sunday and one game on Monday, so there's no extra fixtures and anything to be gained. So you really are just looking to get someone in for the single day, and then that's you. So as I say, I do think the Chelsea player is the best option to move on to a 1A. But yeah, I think that's it, to be honest, for those fixture gains. Let's take a quick look at my own team. Okay, so for the first team, we ended up with 107 points in game week 4, and this is where I ended up making the transfers. So Nakamba to Basuma was something I said I was definitely going to do in that game week preview. And then on the Sunday, I actually went for a very late move just before the deadline and decided to move Colwell out for Rice because I was getting pretty tired of Colwell, to be honest, and I'm quite disappointed that I did start with him. But that was right after Nottingham Forest beat Chelsea 1-0 at home. I was like, I'm just going to get him out there now. I was unable to make the Colwell to a 1A transfer anyway. That was something that I wanted to do, but I've already got 3 strikers, so that was unable to happen for me. So I was trying to get Colwell out at some point. It was either for a defender or a midfielder. And then I think it was about 20 minutes before the deadline. I was like, I'm just going to put Rice in. And it worked out really well. Obviously scored against United and then got a pass here as well. So that was great. In terms of anything else, rank 21k. It's looking okay. This week's transfers. Jackson is going to be moving on to a 1A. I'll quickly get that up. So Jackson's going to a 1A, and I totally forgot I still had Sam Johnson in goals. I'm going to have to get him out at some point. I've got 1.9 mil in the bank, and I don't really know what to do with it, to be honest, because no goalkeepers are really interesting me too much right now. Again, I could always go to Rob Sanchez. The only real options I've got this week is, as you can see with the fixtures, letting Johnson play against Villa, and then I'm really going either Rob Sanchez, Ramsdale, or the Forest goalie, and I'd rather just have a 1A, to be honest, rather than worrying about who actually plays in goals for Forest. So the only real options is Rob Sanchez and Ramsdale. And as we just seen with the Chelsea fixtures, they are going to start getting a bit dodgy soon. So Rob Sanchez does look like the best pick for me at this point. After that, game week 7, Palace again play against Fulham. And then you've got some more options. I could maybe go for Nick Pope next week as an option as well, with Newcastle's fixtures going quite well. Alisson, probably wouldn't go for Alisson. I don't think he's worth the money. Rob Sanchez again. Wouldn't bother myself with the Brighton goalkeepers. Probably not any of these guys. So it would maybe be Nick Pope. The only real options, Nick Pope or Rob Sanchez for Johnson, I think. Yeah, really looking at things, it's not too much. At least I know Palace are playing in the next couple of Saturdays. Again, Saturday as well. And the fixtures aren't actually bad for Palace, which is annoying because I would have the plan from the start of the season was to just keep Johnson in for a while, and I've got him in both teams as well. But I think I'll just maybe go. I don't know. Again, keep up to date on Twitter, and I'll post if I end up making that decision. But if anything this week, it will probably end up be Rob Sanchez, and then I'll maybe keep him for like the next 4 games, and then maybe look to move him on. But it's probably going to be Rob Sanchez or Nick Pope. But again, Watkins is going to go to a 1A, and that'll be it for that. In terms of captains, I'm going to pick Haaland. Again, I don't have Maddison or Son, so I can't make that. Differential captain. I'm probably going to go Jackson, I think, against Bournemouth. I'd rather him than Chilwell because Chilwell's not really been performing. So it's going to be Haaland on Saturday, Jackson on Sunday, and then when I transfer a 1A in, that'll be him on Monday. In terms of the second team, going back to game week 4 again. One transfer was made. Jared Bowen out after playing fantastic in the last couple of weeks. That was a great transfer because he has been brilliant. He came out and Isak came in, only got 2 points, but Newcastle have some great fixtures, so I'm hoping he can be a nice differential. I think he's still quite, saying that, he's 22% owned. I had no idea he was that popular. 6% in the top 1k. But again, I still think he could do well. For this team, it's going to be Richarlison, because Richarlison has been shocking and then didn't start as well. So Richarlison's going to be coming out for me and going to a 1A in this team. And that, again, Johnson as well might end up going to Rob Sanchez. Apart from that, everything's great. Quite happy with both teams now. 44 transfers made in Team 1, 45 transfers made in Team 2, which is kind of sticking to the one transfer per game week. Obviously, there's about 42 game weeks in Sky, 50 transfers, which I'm okay with, to be honest. Captains again, it's going to be Haaland. I'm not going to wait and see if Richarlison ends up starting, so I'm not going to captain him. And it's going to be Saka on Sunday, and then Monday is going to obviously be a 1A as well. But that is it, I think, for this week's game week preview. I think right now I'm fairly happy with both teams. There is only one or two things that I don't really like with them. Both ranks are looking good, 9.5k, 21k. None of it's like fantastic. I've not had a magical start, but I've definitely not had a bad start either. Last year I was sitting about 20k by Christmas, and I still finished like I think I was like 300th. Maybe, I can't really remember the exact rank, but it just shows you like the rank doesn't really matter at the start. So if you are down on rank, don't spam transfers to try to catch up, because there is still, again, 36 odd game weeks still to go. But that is it for the game week preview. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and turn notifications on so you know exactly when I upload. It is a bit of a busy period right now with fantasy football content. Obviously the Champions League starts next week as well, so I want to try to get some UCL stuff out as well. The Sky stuff's quite popular, and obviously FPL I'd like to get a couple videos out regarding wild cards and stuff like that as well. So it is going to be busy. There might probably be a couple of double uploads soon. I might try maybe get some weekend videos out as well, which is something I don't normally do, but as I say, make sure to subscribe and put the notifications on so you know when the videos do come out. But again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.